morning, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today in partnership with Lloyds Bank Academy. Really excited. We've got Mark Tomkins back with us today. We're talking all about CEO and website content and why you should write for people and not robots. Hi, Mark. How are you?
I'm fine, Amber. And what about you? Good?
I'm brilliant, thank you. And it's lovely to see your face back with us again. Feel like it's been ages. So today Mark's going to be covering how to help people find your website, effective SEO strategies, what a good website looks like, essential elements that make website friendly, user and tech tools and tips to cover. So I'm going to hand over to Mark in just a second. We are recording, so don't worry if you miss out on anything. We'll send it directly to your email address. We are going to be taking questions at the end, so please put them in the Q&A. I'll go through those with Mark, and do get involved in the chat. I can see lots of you already there. Please let us know where you're from and your business. So Mark's going to be going through a presentation for about 45 minutes, and I'll be back at the end. So over to you.
Thank you, Amber, and thank you everybody for coming along today. My thanks also extend to Lloyds Bank and also Small Business Britain. So thank you, everybody. Let's get started. So first of all, I'm going to share my screen because that's always a good place to start. There we go. There's my ugly mug. I definitely should have shaved before that photo was taken. What am I going to talk about today? Well, I'm going to talk about website content. I'm going to talk about how that influences your SEO. So really today's session should have the subtitle of how do I get my website to show up in search engines better? That's really what we're all talking about. So let's get stuck in. All right. So for those of you who are new to running a small business, new to even owning a website, what is SEO? You'll probably hear it bandied around quite a lot. Well, SEO, search engine optimization. Well, what does that mean exactly? Well, search engine optimization is essentially the practice of making your website more visible in search results. You go into Google or Bing, and you search for something. And when those search results come up, page, by the way, that comes up with all of the search results, that's called the SERPs, search engine results pages. So when you search for something, and I'm going to use the example of golf shoes, because I've just bought a new pair of golf shoes. I know, I'm a middle-aged man. What can you know? So I search for golf shoes. When I see a whole list of responses that come up in that Google search page, those are the search engine results. Now, I realize that a lot of you on the call today, you will have been running a website for a little while. You've probably been in business for a little while. So some of this stuff you might know already. But the whole idea of today is not just to provide you with some tips and information, but also bust some myths, because there are a lot of things out there people think are how search engines work. People think how websites are found, but actually the information might be out of date, might be wrong. There's a lot of myths. So today, this is about myth busting and tip providing. So SEO, it is the practice of providing your website, making your website visible when somebody searches for something. Why does it matter? Why does it matter for small businesses particularly? Well, good SEO means that you can go toe to toe with bigger businesses. Right? There are two types of search. So people in our industry, we just call it search these days. And there are two flavors. There's paid, people who pay per click, people who pay to appear on search engine results page. And then there's the organic, SEO. So the stuff that you're not paying for necessarily, but you are adjusting your website, you're producing content in order to make your website show. Why does it matter? Well, as a small business, you need a lot of new inquiries, you need a lot of new sales to just get some momentum to grow as a business. So it allows you to compete. That's why SEO matters. What's the goal? Well, the goal is increase your traffic to your website and therefore get new leads if you're a service-based business, get new sales if that's what you do. The ultimate aim is to convert more website visitors into sales or inquiries. So that's what search engine optimization, more commonly known as SEO, means. So, oh, the slides are jumping a little bit there. So the other thing now to understand is search engines. What is a search engine? Now, I'm going to skip through this a little bit quick because most of you know, but I'm going to tell you how they work because most people don't know how search engines work. What is a search engine? A search engine is nothing more than a database, a very, very big database, but nonetheless a database. And the way that that database fills up with information is it has little bots that trawl the internet and scoop their way along and index lots and lots of websites. They record all of the URLs, all of the pages, all of the information about websites. So as each day passes, more websites get added, more pages get added. Google and Bing and the other search engines, they crawl their way along. This happens automatically. You've probably heard the phrase spider. Well, once it finds those pages, it then indexes them like a library, indexes them, makes a record of the URL, moves on. Now, as long as those pages have been set up properly, the bot will understand what the page is about, and it will then rank it according to how well it meets a search criteria. So if there's lots of web pages out there and they've got golf shoes on them, it's going to be down to how well those pages are constructed and other factors, which we'll go into in due course, that your site will rank according to that search criteria. So search engines use these bots, they crawl the website or websites, they index, they record the URLs, and then they will rank them based on how well they match those search results. The main search engines, of course, are Google and Bing. Interestingly, Google dominates the market pretty much in Europe and the UK mostly. It's about a 50-50 split in the US, the other one being Bing. There are people who still use Yahoo and a few other search engines out there, but those numbers are dwindling. Your marketplace is essentially Google and Bing. If you can appear on those, that's the lion's share of search zone. So that's how it works. That's how a search engine records the information and essentially returns it when somebody searches for something. Now, historically, and here we go, we're going to talk about some myths. Historically, way back, and we're going to hop in our time machine. If you filled a website up with loads and loads of phrases that are all about the thing that you sell, Google would go, wow, these guys really know their stuff. They've said plumber, Leighton Buzzard on their website 75 times. They must be the main plumber in Leighton Buzzard. Well, that's the way it used to be more than 10 plus years ago. But Google grew up. Google realized that that could be cheated. People could fake it. People could make loads and loads of pages and fill it up with keywords. So that's cheating. It's about quality. Why is it about quality? Well, if we just press pause for a second, a search engine has one job to do, and that is to deliver somebody at a website that gives them what they need based on their search. That's one job. Unfortunately, there historically have been lots of ways to try and cheat that, from registering URLs, registering domain names that describe the thing that you do in the place that you do it, as through to having hundreds and hundreds of pages that have all got lots and lots of references to what you sell or what you do. But Google got wise. Now it's about the quality of the content, because that's how people engage. People are savvy. You search people. If you search for something, you can very quickly see what's a site that's just full of nonsense and something that's actually quite good or of interest. It is about engagement. It's about users, your customers. If you write good quality content that engages with people and resonates with people, it reduces the bounce rate. The bounce rate is where somebody searches for something, clicks on a link in the search results, goes to a website, realizes that it's not what they want and goes back to Google. That's a bounce. So all of these things, good, informative, well-written content that targets your audience, means that they're going to stay longer on your website. It follows what we call the EAT principles: expertise, authoritativeness, trustworthiness. Now, this is going to be a common theme today. Okay, we're going to talk about trust a lot. It's mostly about trust. What am I talking about? Well, do you remember I just said that Google's got one job to do, and that is to deliver somebody to a website based on a search phrase, and for them not to basically come back in a bounce? Well, the only way really that's going to happen is if Google has a trust in the website. It can trust that your website is the place to send somebody based on a certain search phrase. This is where you demonstrate your expertise. This is where you demonstrate on a web page, you know what you are talking about. The website is well constructed. It's mobile friendly. We're going to come back to that bit in a minute. And the number of people that go to it and stay on the website, i.e. don't bounce back to Google, that ticks Google's boxes. Now, the purpose of today's webinar, I'm only really going to be referencing Google because that makes up the lion's share of UK searches, but the principle remains the same for Bing. It is all about the search engine being able to trust that if somebody searches for something and the search engine delivers them to that website, can that search engine trust that website to deliver what it said it was going to deliver? Google prioritizes content that demonstrates these principles, okay? So demonstrate your expertise. Be the expert in your field. Whatever it is that you do, whether you handmade jewelry, whether you are an architect, whatever it is that you do, demonstrate on your website that you are an expert. Tell people how you do it. Share that information. Nobody's going to steal the info. This is how you do it. Share your expertise. One of the most highest viewed videos on YouTube and generally on social is a video of somebody making something or somebody describing how they make something. Humans are just fascinated with the way other people make things. So on your website, demonstrate how you do something. Express your expertise. Whether you make something, whether you provide a service, describe it. Be the expert. Have some confidence in what you do and describe it. That content format, if you like, can be in the form of blogs, social channel videos, infographics, a mixture of the two. But fundamentally, what people are looking for is they're looking for somebody to stand out in the crowd, to go, this person is saying they're pretty good at it, and they're telling us how they do it. That's really good. I'm going to listen to them. And of course, if you diversify that format type across your website, but also social channels, a mixture of blog articles or news articles or pages that show and demonstrate to the reader how you do it and why you do it and what the benefits are, that's going to have a positive impact on your search. So we're going to talk about the optimization techniques. Let's build a picture. Let's assume you've got a website. There it is. It exists. Doesn't matter if it's built on Wix. It doesn't matter if it's a site that you've had built by a web developer. It doesn't matter even if you've built it yourself. So what you're really trying to do, first of all, is work out the search phrases that people are going to use to find somebody like you. Now, you might know that information, but you might not know it. There's some great tools out there, Google's Keyword Planner, and also another website called Ahrefs. These are really good tools that you can use to find the keywords that are relevant to what you do. Now, I think it's really, really important to just have a realism check here. Okay, adding keywords to your web page is not an instant I'm going to get on page 1 of Google action. That is not. Think about the users. Think about the phrases and the terms that your customers might use to find somebody like you. I'll give you an example. Way back in the dim and distant past, when I first started using Google as a business, but also as a company, when Aubergine was young, we did a lot of graphic design. And when we looked regularly, which we did every week at our Google Analytics, we could see that people were using the phrase graphics designer. Now, as a graphic designer, that's my background training. I can tell you that using the phrase graphics designer is really quite frustrating and annoying, because that's not what we are. But nonetheless, that's what people were using to find people like us. So that's important. Understanding that terminology. So using these kind of tools is going to help you understand what kind of phrases you need to be referencing in your content when you write it. That on-page SEO, so using the keywords naturally, is really important. You remember back a little while ago when I was talking about the old ways of having a website, and on that website you might go plumber Leighton Buzzard plumber. Look, we've all seen those websites where you click on a link and you arrive at the website and it's just full of the phrases that you searched for, but it's incoherent text. That is the old way. It doesn't work. The keywords need to be used in normal, natural language. So the other thing that pays dividends, really, not just in terms of the good, well-structured content. And what I'm going to do, I can see lots of questions in the chat box there, all asking about AI. I'm going to cover AI and content writing shortly. So hold your horses on that bit. Right now, I want to talk to you about meta description. Okay, so I'm going to put my web developer hat on and we're going to talk about meta description. What's that? What are meta descriptions? Well, you know, in Google, when you search for something and the search results come up and it's got the title of the page in blue and then short little gray text underneath. Well, those are the meta descriptions of each page. Meta title, page title, meta description appears underneath. It's the description of that page. You should be writing content for the meta descriptions of your web pages, because that's Google's first snapshot of your site. First snapshot of the page. It's going to go, what's this page about? Oh, it says handmade silver jewelry. And then in the meta description, it's going to go handmade silver jewelry made in Bedfordshire by so-and-so using English silver. Okay, there's lots of important information in there. So when I see that come up in my search results, that's going to be interesting to me. So meta description, that's an important thing for you to add to your website. Alt tags, alternative textual description. So when you're adding images to your website, please don't leave them as ds137575.jpg, because that's how it came off of the phone or the camera. That means nothing to anyone. Call the image what it is. That will help. If it is a handmade silver bracelet, call it that. The other thing, of course, when it comes to things like alt tags, meta descriptions, headings on the pages, these are all very, very important when it comes to website accessibility. 1 in 5 people, 1 in 5, 20% who use the internet have a disability or a situation that makes it very difficult for them to use a website or software in a visual or a motor controlled way. So by adding meta descriptions, by adding headings, by adding alt text, makes the experience for them much better. Just to give you a point of reference, I think 2023, 250 billion pounds was the value of what's called the purple pound. The purple pound is people with disabilities who spend 250 billion. So why would you not want to make your website easier for people who have accessibility needs? Now, the other thing as well is internal links. Now, again, reality check, linking from one page to another, from this to that within your own site doesn't have an SEO value as such. It won't boost your search engine rankings that much, but what it will do is it will improve your user's experience. And if your user's experience, your customer's experience on your website is a good one, a better one, they're much more likely to order, they're much more likely to inquire, they're much more likely to come back. So cross-linking content on your website is a good, helpful thing. Again, another aspect of accessibility, please don't use click here, please don't use here. Non-descriptive link text. Use descriptive link text. If you are linking to your handmade jewelry bracelet page, make sure the link text is handmade jewelry bracelet. It's about users and a better experience, because that's what's going to give you better results. Fundamentally, good SEO techniques are about your users, your customers. Okay. Good user experience equals happy user. Happy user, less bounce, more time on your website, confident search engine. If there's a confident search engine and you've got returning users, those search engines can trust you. Everyone wins. Happy customers, they get what they want. Happy search engine, they can trust delivering people to your website. Happy website owner, you've got more visitors and hopefully more sales. When you boil it down to this, it's quite obvious, but some people do try and tend to wrap SEO up into a bit of a knot. So talking of knot or knobbly things, let's talk about the big tamale, the hot potato, AI. Artificial intelligence, for those of you who have been sleeping under a rock. Right. AI. Can it be used for search engine, SEO, content creation? The answer is yes, it can. It's not cheating. However, remember, it is a tool. Nothing more or less than a hammer, than a screwdriver. But nonetheless, you can use it well. What are the benefits of using AI to write content? Well, it's a fast start. It's speed, it's efficient, and there's lots of data that it can draw on to help you, to save you time. You can quickly generate content for your web pages, or take the content from your web page, stick it in Google, stick it in AI. There you go, difference between humans and AI. And say, right, these 500 words, chop it down to 200 because there's too much. It's a really good tool to do stuff like that. What it's not is a magic bullet, but it is a very, very good tool to use to help save time and get you going. But what are the risks? Right. The risks are it isn't always accurate. But you've got to make sure that you allow time to read through whatever it serves up is correct and not over-optimized and uses natural language. One of the things about AI tools, particularly ChatGPT, which is one of the ones we favor, is you can give it very good prompts. You can say to it, write me 500 words in natural language that's not technical, that describes how to make a silver bracelet using English silver. And it will draw on lots of resources. So it's a fast start. Now I'm using this silver bracelet. I don't know why, it just came to me. Maybe I saw something. Maybe I saw something on Instagram. Maybe I saw something on a search result. It's going to save you time to get you that chunk of text. Then you read it. Now there might be some errors in it. So in the ChatGPT, for example, you're going to then go, this bit's inaccurate, correct that bit, rewrite this bit, and it will. It's important to make sure that you check it, that it's not robotic, it's in normal language that people understand, and it is accurate. This is really important. I can't actually stress it enough, especially if you are providing a service that is a service-driven business that has got technicality aspects to it. I would strongly advise those who work in the legal sector, medical sector, dental industry, those sorts of things, not to rely on it. It is really important that you triple check everything that it serves up. But it will get you going quickly. And of course, if you can make the time to fine tune those prompts that you say in the chat GPT, over time, you're going to get better at the instruction. Now, what's the big picture going on here? Is this going to make humans lazy? Of course it is. But every single tool that humans have made for the last 200,000 years has made humans lazy. That's the whole idea. We've got a brain enough to think about, how can I make a thing that means I don't have to do the thing? Fundamentally, we're lazy. But we are going to need to keep an eye on this in terms of accuracy. So should you use it? Yes, but with the caveat that check everything. But it is going to get you going. Look, small businesses, we have a finite amount of time to give to our business. We're here, we're there, and we do need to do the marketing stuff. So find that balance between using ChatGPT, which, by the way, is free. I mean, you can pay for ChatGPT 4 or other services that give more in-depth responses and service, but the free one is also very good. So a hybrid between what you're telling it and checking it, that's really important. But it will help you get some of that content right on your website. So I'm going to move on now, because it isn't just about the content that improves search engine results and users' experience. It's about page speed, the need for speed. Now, those of you that have been to some of my webinars before will know that I am obsessed with website speed. And the reason for that is not unfounded. It is important. It is one of Google's main measuring sticks. How fast or slow is this website? Speed impacts on users' experience, and if it impacts on the user's experience, it's going to impact on ranking. Google is not going to serve up a slow website in its search results. Slow loading sites frustrate users. If it frustrates a user, higher bounce rate, which means Google's going to go, I can't trust delivering people to this website. Fortunately, there is a brilliant free tool served up by Google called Page Speed Insights, and it allows you to measure both the mobile and the desktop speed of your website and tell you what the things wrong that you need to address, both in terms of mobile and desktop. It's going to help you do things like, or rather tell you, you need to compress images, you need to use browser caching, you need to fix code errors. It's going to give you a whole slew of things that you need to tackle on your website. Some of the things you're going to be able to do: content, images, headings. Some of the things you're not going to be able to do, and you're going to need to have to involve a web expert such as Aubergine. But ultimately, by making your website faster and better, you are going to be more attractive to Google to be able to serve it up in a search result. It's as simple as that. So there you go. What you need to do to test your website, head over to that URL there, pagespeed.web.dev. Put your web address in there and fire it up, and it will give you a result based on mobile and desktop. Now, what did I say earlier on about mobile experience? Well, it's the most important thing. It's Google's primary directive: mobile first. More than 85% of all searches are done on a phone. In some sectors, it's as much as 95%. So if your website is slow on the mobile, doesn't work well on the mobile, you've got to sort that out. It's no longer optional, but necessary, because not only does it annoy your users and you won't get the sales or the inquiries that you're looking for, but it'll annoy and dare I say it, it'll basically force Google to ignore you. So mobile first. One of the things that I'd like you to take away today is get your phone, go to your own website on your phone and go through the whole experience. If you sell online, go all the way through to putting something in the basket. If you don't sell online, go through all of the pages, experience it yourself as your customer would. Test the forms, make sure that those forms aren't difficult to fill in, make sure that the form submission actually turns up in your inbox. Because you can't sit there with a website and go, didn't really get many inquiries this week, didn't make many sales this week without checking your website. So check it from your phone, make sure that the pages work well, the buttons aren't difficult to press, nothing's hidden, the whole experience works. Get a family member, get 3 family members to test it for you from their phone. Forget about the desktop. Mobile is really, really important. Making sure that that layout, that design that you've got is responsive, works for the different size mobiles. There's a free tool. Again, it's all part of the Google Page Speed Insights that allows you to test the mobile friendliness of your website. So go and do that. So now I'm going to talk about some technical aspects of it. Well-structured site, okay? Good websites have got very clear, easy to use navigation. Again, pick up your phone, go through your own website and look at the titles on the menu. Does the menu system work well? Are the things called what they should be called? Don't just think, oh, yeah, I think it's all right. Change it. If you don't think it's quite right, change it. Leave it like, make a change, leave it like it for a few weeks and see if that increases or decreases your inquiries. Now, clean URL structures are also important. What do I mean by that? Well, you know, in a web address at the top, and it will say handmadesilverjewelry.com / you need to make sure that that URL structure is nice and clear. / bracelets, / necklaces, / whatever, making it clear for users. Because if it's clear for users, it's clear for Google. If it's clear for Google, it's clear for users. I'm hoping I've driven that point home enough. There is a technical aspect to this robots file from I think I left my web developer hat on briefly there. I'll leave it on just for this bit. It's a tiny little file that sits in your website build that says to search engines, hey, it's okay to come and crawl me. It's okay to come and index me. Some websites, and we see this from time to time, some websites don't have one of these, which means when the bot comes along, it doesn't know whether it's allowed to crawl you or not. It doesn't know whether it's allowed to index your pages or not. So it's important that you check that, see if you've got one of these. If you've got a WordPress website, you can go to your domain name / robots.txt. Okay. If you've got a WordPress based website, I don't know if other branded sites like Wix and things have those by default. It's definitely worth checking. If you don't know, ask a web developer to help you. Now, the other thing, again, it goes back to things like the meta description. So the page title, the meta description, canonical tags, that tells the search engines which version of the page is the original and which is the duplicate, because you might want lots of pages on your website that all talk about silver bracelets. But over time, you're adding more and more. So adding something called a canonical tag will tell Google this is the original one. Okay. Because what Google does not like is duplicate content across your website, but also across lots of websites. Google will know if you've stolen text from somebody else's website. It will absolutely know. Remember earlier on, I said about Google indexing, recording every single page of every single site in its database. Well, if it comes across your website and you've recently borrowed some text from somebody else's website because it was pretty good and you liked it and it resonated with what you do, if you've just copied it verbatim, Google will go, well, I've read this text somewhere before. Oh, yes, I've read it from this web page. Google also knows how old each page is. And if it sees yours as being 3 days old and another web page that's got the same content on it, and that was a year and a half old, it's going to black mark yours. So don't steal it. I'm going to move on now. Local SEO, right? There is a difference. Google does love local. It loves everything to do with local search. It's invested billions and billions and billions into Street View and maps, and appended to that are some other services. The main one is Google Business, or used to be called Google My Business. Okay, it looks like this. There it is. So on the right hand side, you'll see my Google My Business profile. Okay, and this is Aubergines. You can see here. It's very important because it's identified where in the world we are. It's displaying Google reviews automatically. There you go. It's also showing opening times and all those kinds of stuff. This is one of the last free bastions of Google, and it helps get your place on the internet as a fixed place, especially if you are a shop. If you have a fixed office or if you are a shop, make sure that you claim it. Now, there is a process of claiming it. Just go into Google and type claim my Google business page and follow the instructions. Okay, we're not going to get stuck into that today because the process is it's quite easy, but it's a little bit convoluted for the purpose of today. But nonetheless, it is very, very important that you own this space. Right now, it's free. I get a sense that as the landscape of the Google search page changes in time, as I'm sure you've all realized on the search results page, you're getting more and more ads appearing at the top. Well, my spidey sense is telling me that at some point or another, the Google business profile bit may move over to a semi-paid model. Some bits might be free, some bits might be paid for. So it's definitely, if you've not claimed your Google business profile page now, please do so. It's a very good way. Okay, so we're just going to scoot back to this. Local keywords, so targeting regions, local services. This is going to help encourage Google and the indexing to understand where you are. So if you are a shop, and I'm based here in Leighton Buzzard, so if you are a shop, making sure that your pages have got references to Leighton Buzzard and jewelry or whatever it is that you do, making sure that they are on the page, not in an excessive way, but enough. And also making sure that your contact page has got your locations on it. That way, Google is going to be able to go, yes, I know where you are. You're talking about Leighton Buzzard. I can see on your contact page, it says Leighton Buzzard. I can see that the phone number, that 01525, that's a Leighton Buzzard number. Google knows this stuff. And then Google Business Profile, yeah, there you are. So all of these things are really important for local SEO. You might be a shop. You might be somebody who only serves local businesses and local customers. So this is important for you. If, however, you are a national business, this is slightly harder because Google doesn't really want people occupying the Google business space if you are a national. It wants to know where in the world you are. So you might need to pick an office as a starting point. Google does allow multiple offices to be set up. So let's just say you've got 4 shops that are selling your silver jewelry. You'll need 1 for each. These things, however, will help you with your local SEO. I'm going to move on now to backlinks. Right. What is a backlink? Well, do you remember way back at the beginning of the session, I talked about trust. Can Google and search engines trust you, your website, to be truthful and say what you mean? Well, the way that's done is third-party verification. Google does not trust website owners because people lie. People fill their websites up with nonsense in order to trick people in thinking that they are a delivery company. I'm sure you've all seen it where you search for a plumber in your town and then search results come up. And actually, it's one of these national firms and they've just created loads of pages that have got your town's name in it. Well, that is going to start to disappear. Google knows about that. But having third-party verification, so other people's websites that link to yours, that tells Google, if they trust to be able to link to that website, I'm going to trust that too. So a small bit of that good internet juice rubs off on you. A brilliant example of this is where a client of ours, they're very, very famous in the murder mystery weekend sector, you know, people who go on these holidays to do murder mystery investigations. They, about 15 years ago, were featured on the BBC and linked to the website. And forever then, since then, there's been this link from bbc.co.uk to their web address. And that tells Google, wow, if BBC trust, I'm going to trust. And it has a really important impact. So if you can get high quality links to your website from other websites, that is the goal. Now, it's really hard to do, but it does pay dividends. Building backlinks, i.e. creating posts on other people's websites, partnerships with other firms and organizations, it does help build up the overall profile and quality of your website. And so Google can trust you more. But warning, warning, bang, 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 flashing away on the screen there. Do not buy link building services. There are lots of firms out there that go, oh, we can get lots and lots of links to your website. All you've got to do is pay us £50 a month. Don't do it. Don't do it. If you do one thing from today, please do not buy links. They are set up by rubbish, crappy companies, usually based in India and Bangladesh and different parts of the world, and they will add 50 or 100 or 200 links, depending on how much you pay overnight. But those links are junk. And when you stop paying, they pull the rug on it and Google goes, you had 100 links today and tomorrow you haven't. I don't trust you. Something's a bit screwy here. So don't do that. So in the last few minutes, we're going to get stuck into some SEO myth busting. Right. SEO is a one-time task. No, reality. It requires continuous, ongoing effort. Be the expert. Add good quality, not quantity. That's what Google is looking for. Myth number 2, keyword stuffing, filling the web pages up with keywords about what you do, improves ranking. Afraid not. Overloading your web page will tell Google, you're trying to cheat me here. Write good, well-written English content. It'll harm you otherwise. What else have we got? Link quantity trumps link quality. So the more links I have to my website, the better. Sorry. Quality is what matters. If you had 100 links to your website from this, that, you know, directories, and there's another one to pay attention to, rubbish directories, they are not good for your search engine profile. You're better to have one good quality link to your website than you are be on a handful of those free directories. Paid search ads help organic ranking. Well, organic and paid search are completely separate. Remember I said about search and there are 2 flavors, organic SEO, paid. They are separate. Google's profile and Bing as well is heavily invested in getting people to pay for advertising. And why not? Because it means that you're going to get stuck right at the top. If you pay to be there, you're going to get shown. But you might not be able to afford it. You might not have the funds to be able to do that. So you are going to need to do other things, natural search techniques and leveraging social media. That's where people hang out. So paid search and paid search ads, do they help organic ranking? Not really, because they are pretty unconnected. People often look at the search results page and they can't see the difference between the ads and the natural. What I can tell you is the natural search results are heading further and further down the results page. very often the first page is going to be pretty much filled with ads. So here's a few tools. Google Analytics. Today's session is not about using Google Analytics. Today's session really is focusing on the techniques to get the content right. But I would strongly advise you look into adding analytics to your website, because if you don't know what the data is, how can you make good decisions? But I do recommend using Page Speed Insights to check your website's mobile experience. The other thing that I'd like you to go and have a play with is called the Moz Bar. It's free. It's on moz.com, and you can install a little browser extension. And as you can see from my little screen snap here in the bottom right-hand corner, it'll give you a ranking of how, it's a bit of a finger in the wind of how Google thinks your website ranks up against others. As you can see there, Aubergine, our domain is 22 years old. We do a lot of this stuff, and even now our domain authority is 32 out of 100. It's hard. Okay, it is hard. So just be realistic about what you can try and achieve. The other tool that you've got at your disposal is your website. Start adding content to it. Use ChatGPT to help get you a first start. Create a weekly blog page, or if you can't do it every week, do it every couple of weeks or once a month, but make a start. ChatGPT will help you make a start. I would say you need probably something close to maybe an hour, hour and a half a month. Before ChatGPT, it was pencil and paper time. Paid tools, Ahrefs, SEMrush, Moz. They offer paid services to give deep SEO deep dive into your website to help you then think about how you should adjust the page meta, how you should adjust the content, basically how your pages are ranking against those search results. I would start with free first, because there are some good tools out there. But essentially, these are basic functions that these all provide. I've said about Google Analytics, it's free. It will help you monitor the traffic on your website in terms of bounce rate, the pages, the words that people are using to find your site. It's not going to make automatically any changes to your site, but it'll give you the data so that you can make an informed decision as to the sorts of changes you might need to. Go to analytics.google.com, sign up for free. You may need to get a web developer to help you put the code into the website so that it can track properly. If you've got a WordPress site, you can install a plugin that will work it for you. I don't know about other free website services like Wix and all of that. I think they've got the ability for you to put in the tracking code somewhere. Analysis equals knowledge. Knowledge means better messaging, better decision making, and ultimately it's more conversions. So last bit, social media and SEO. Here's the shock news. People don't hang out on your website. I know, shocker, what the hell are they doing? But they do hang out on social media. People browse more, people hang out there more. So make use of your social media channel to drive people to your website. Engaging content on social media. Tell people how you do stuff. Post stuff up that links to pages on your website. And whilst it's not going to improve SEO in the natural sense, because remember, social media channels require a login, and Google and Bing can't see inside websites that have got a login, can't see that content. But what it does do is it gives signals. It tells Google lots of people are coming to this website from Facebook or Instagram or whatever. So it's about the users again. So it won't directly influence your rankings, but what we're doing here is by putting interesting content on your social media channel with a link to the relevant page on your website, we are helping your users get more and engage more. So the benefit comes that way. Share content. Tell people how you do it. Because fundamentally, that's what's going to separate you from the rest of the crowd. So look, we're coming very closely to the end now. you've got to keep up with some trend. So you've got to, this is not a one-shot deal. This is not a fire and forget. It's constantly evolving. So you are going to need to keep up with various trends in your sector and what you're doing, what's hot, what's not. As a reminder, use AI to help you fast start with some content. Use the Page Speed Insights tool. It's also known as Core Web Vitals. Core Web Vitals was the title that Google gave it. But use that Page Speed Insights tool to work out whether your website is slow, what the mobile experience is. And make sure that you keep your customers and your potential customers up to date with things like blog articles. Maybe do some webinars like I'm doing today. Write news, because it's about content. People want to see that you are the expert in your field and you are demonstrating accordingly. So we've come to the end of the session now. I'd very much like to perhaps, Amber, if it's appropriate now, maybe I can answer some questions for some of the members of the audience.
Oh, still on mute. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mark. That was super interesting. Good to know how to bust those myths. Right. Okay. Let's dig straight into the questions. We've got about 7 minutes left. I saw a really interesting one here, actually, in the chat box. So how can we prevent AI content scraping copyright infringement at the same time as enabling search engine crawlers?
That's really good. Okay. I think first things first is AI doesn't scrape. Okay. AI looks at content and comes up with its own version. Now, where it gets that from is slightly unknown. Okay. If you've got copywritten content on your website that's public, so i.e. the words, okay, I would be mindful of your expectation, right? If you've written words and it's on a public web page, it's going to get lifted. You will not be able to police what happens to that. The strictest letter of the law is, yes, if somebody's used it verbatim, then, you know, go for it. If you've got the money and the time, sue them. But be realistic. You've created a website, you've made the page public, you want anybody to come along to it because you want the inquiries from new potential customers, but you can't then go, but nobody take my stuff, that's my stuff. Images, slightly different. Videos, slightly different. Words, it's English language. It's almost impossible to police. But imagery and that kind of copyrightable content, that is enforceable.
Okay, amazing. I know I've had some problems from, I think this lady had a bikini website or something, and a company in China literally took everything, used all their content, reselling their clothes, and there's nothing they can really do about it at the moment. So definitely something needs to be done around that. Okay, next question about Google My Business. And I think we get this question a lot with remote workers. What advice can you offer for someone who regularly moves as a military partner regarding Google My Business profile?
You're not going to like what I'm going to say. There is absolutely that much you can do. I'm really sorry. Google wants to be able to trust. There is this person, they do this thing, and they're in this location. Do you remember early on I was talking about Google Maps? They've invested bazillions of dollars in Google Maps and Street View and all the rest of it. But they want to be able to go, these people are here. If you keep moving around, you're not going to be able to do that, because I suspect that by the time you've been deployed somewhere, the clock's ticking. By the time you then change the details on Google Business Profile, you might get deployed somewhere else. So I'm afraid I can't help you there. Get your own website, right? Get your own website. Use social media. Social media doesn't care where you are. Use social to drive people to your website.
Amazing, thank you. Accessibility, I know is something you're very passionate about.
Yes.
Trudy has asked, how does making a website accessible impact on the SEO?
It has a positive effect, because do you remember those 20% of all website owners that have a disability, website users that have a disability of some kind or another? Well, guess what? 20% is gonna, so hands up, everybody. I know I probably can't see you. Hands up, who'd like 20% extra customers? I would. Right. So talk to those people.
100%. It's a massive chunk that people are missing out on. Right, next question. How much should a new startup budget to spend on setting up and maintaining a good website with and without selling online?
Lovely question. Realistically, you should budget for year one. If it's non-e-commerce, you should budget for about £3,000 to £4,000. So that's designed, built, up, running. And then year two onwards, I would budget for about 500 quid.
Amazing, thank you. I know lots of businesses trying to set up their own websites, and I think it takes them too much time.
Too much time. Do what
extra.
you do best. Save. Do what you do best. Focus on what you do. Get somebody else to build the website. I'm not going to build jewelry. Wouldn't have a clue. But I get somebody to build me the jewelry, right?
Cool, amazing. Okay, Simon has asked, interested in your thoughts on good economic tools that can be used for SEO to highlight area for improvement.
I would start with Moz. Moz is a really good website that there's a free and paid service that's going to kind of take a health check on your site. It's going to pull out all the keywords and phrases and things that you're ranking for, and you can then compare that to what you're not ranking for. So go have a look at moz.com. You'll need to set up an account, but that's pretty good. The other one to look at is SEMrush, SEMrush.
Perfect, thank you. Right, back to accessibility. Will you do better on social media as well if you use alt text?
Sort of. Very, very few social media platforms are truly accessible. They say they are, but they aren't really. Facebook is awful from an accessibility perspective. X is slightly better, but nobody really uses that anymore. And of course, Instagram is mostly visual, although you can add alt text to your images. I would say of all of them, probably Instagram, hilariously, because it's a visual only interface, I'd say Instagram is probably the best one. Does it have an impact on SEO? No, only other than the fact that it's going to be good for your users. And if it's good for your users, then you're going to hopefully get more inquiries. So it doesn't affect SEO, but it does make it a good experience for your customers.
Lovely, thank you. Lots of questions about the recording and the presentation being shared. We will email it straight to your inbox, so don't worry, you can always catch up. Okay, last question is from Helen. Would you recommend using videos that you've originally uploaded from YouTube, or could you upload videos straight to your website?
Don't upload videos directly to your website because you will grind it to a halt. Set yourself up a free YouTube channel or a free Vimeo channel. Put the video there. Once the video is there, it will give you the embed code. Grab that, plop that on your website, and it'll pull the video through. If you upload your video directly to your website, it will make it run slower than treacle, and page speed insights will slap you in the face.
I know you always talk about not using high quality images as well on your website, because that really slows it down.
Image sizes, get them down in file size.
Cool. Amazing. Well, we've reached the end of the session today, Mark. Thank you so much. It's been lovely to hear from you. Any last thoughts before we wrap up? One key takeaway for the small businesses joining today.
Takeaway, yes. Dabble in ChatGPT to help write you some content. Write the content, but double check it. Go and set an hour aside, have a dabble, go to ChatGPT, set yourself up a free account and pose some questions to it.
Amazing. Did we share the link at the end for Lloyds Bank for the review?
Yeah, at the end on the slide deck, we've got 2 courses there. One of them is about how to build a website, and there's some great stuff there. Shall I slide the put the slide up on the screen there? Let's just pop the slide there. Oh, wrong one. I'm sorry. Sorry, everybody. Fat fingers there. So you should be able to see them. Creating some engageable social media content. This is really good stuff. And also designing your website. There's a couple of options there. They're going to be in the slide deck. And then one of the things I would love you to do, can you share your feedback, everyone? There's a QR code on the screen there. It would be really good to better understand, have we done it right today? It'd be really, really good.
Could you please share it on the screen just before we leave today?
Did I stop it? Did I stop the share? I'm such an idiot. There we go. Look at that. There it is. There it is.
Thank you so much. You should just be able to scan that QR code. Would love to
Yeah.
hear feedback, just to hear how we can improve the sessions for you and see what you like. We'll leave that on the screen just for a moment. If you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out to us at hello@smallbusinessbritain.uk, or I'm sure you can add Mark on LinkedIn. He would love to hear from you. I know you're a very busy man, so sorry to put you in it there, Mark. Cool. Just as you leave, please, I'm just going to leave this screen on, but thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you all very soon.
Thanks, everyone.